Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be taking a deep dive into some really cool news in the world of decentralized AI. SingularityNET is partnering up with Mina Foundation, and we talk a lot about AI these days, but this is decentralized AI, so why should our listeners care about this news?
It really speaks to this idea that's gaining more and more traction, and that's making AI accessible to everybody, not just a select few. So imagine a world where AI isn't controlled by big tech companies, but is distributed across a network. This means everyone can benefit.
Okay, so that sounds like a pretty big shift, but I have to admit I'm not super familiar with SingularityNET or Mina protocol.
Sure, so SingularityNet has been developing their platform for decentralized AI for a while now. Their big goal is to create what's called artificial general intelligence, or AGI. And AGI is basically AI that can learn and adapt like we do as humans.
Wow, that's a pretty ambitious goal.
Yeah.
And what about Mina protocol? What sets them apart?
Well, they're known for their blockchain technology, which is super lightweight and really prioritizes privacy. They use this thing called zero-knowledge proofs. It's a way of proving something is true without actually revealing the underlying information. You can think of it like, showing your ID to get into a bar without giving the bouncer all your personal info.
Right, right. So I'm starting to see how these two could fit together. But what are they hoping to achieve with this partnership specifically?
So they're basically combining their strengths to push the boundaries of decentralized AI. SingularityNet brings its AI expertise and the platform they've built. And Mina Protocol brings the privacy and efficiency of their blockchain tech.
Okay, I'm following you. So it's like a 1 + 1 = 3 kind of situation. But how does all of this actually work in practice? What's going on under the hood?
They're going to integrate SingularityNet's AI infrastructure with Mina's zero-knowledge proof tech, specifically something called zk-SNARKs.
zk-SNARKs? I feel like I've heard of that before. Is that the thing where you can prove something without revealing the actual information, like showing your ID without all your details?
Exactly. You got it.
Hmm.
This means AI agents can make decisions and take actions without exposing sensitive data. So, for example, you could have an AI managing your finances without it ever actually seeing your account numbers.
Oh, wow. That's a really cool application. It sounds like this partnership could really shake things up in the AI world.
Absolutely. And it goes beyond just the tech itself. This partnership directly tackles the issue of data privacy in AI.
You're right. By baking privacy into the system from the ground up, they're creating a more trustworthy and secure foundation for AI.
It's a big step towards AI that's not just powerful, but also ethical and puts the user first.
Okay, so we've established that SingularityNet is like the brains, and Mina Protocol is like the security guard of this whole operation. But can we dig a little deeper into SingularityNet's approach to AGI?
Sure, so they've built this entire ecosystem of tools and technologies. They have their own programming language called Meta, a genetic programming algorithm called Moses, and tools like EON-N and economic attention networks, all working together to make AGI a reality.
That sounds pretty complex. It seems like they're really pushing the limits of what AI can do.
Definitely. And they're also committed to an open source approach, encouraging developers all around the world to contribute to their platform.
So it's all about collaboration and transparency. That makes sense when you're trying to build a truly decentralized AI ecosystem.
Exactly. It's about giving the power to shape the future of AI to the community instead of keeping it in the hands of just a few companies.
Okay, so we have SingularityNet focused on building the brains of decentralized AI. And Mina Protocol is making sure everything is secure and private. So what's next for this dynamic duo?
Well, they've got some exciting projects lined up, and they're actively seeking out proposals for new developments.
Okay, cool. I'm really interested to see where they take this.
Me too. It has the potential to be a game changer.
Yeah, this is all really fascinating, but I feel like we've only just scratched the surface. There's so much more to unpack about this partnership and its potential impact.
Definitely, and we're just getting started. Before we jump into specific projects, I think it's important to mention that SingularityNet and Mina Foundation are very aware of the potential risks that come with AGI.
Right. I mean, AI is powerful stuff. And with great power comes great responsibility, as they say.
Exactly. And in their Inside SingularityNet video, they're very open about the need to be cautious and responsible. For example, they actually put out a request for proposals to look specifically at the ethical implications of their work, like making sure that they avoid biases in their AGI development.
That's good to hear. So they're thinking about the bigger picture, not just the technology itself.
Yeah, definitely. And speaking of the technology, let's talk a little bit more about those zk-SNARKs.
Yes, please. We touched on it earlier, but I could definitely use a more in-depth explanation. How does that all work?
Okay, so imagine you have a really complex math problem, and you don't want to show anyone the actual numbers involved. zk-SNARKs basically let you prove that you've solved the problem correctly without revealing the numbers themselves.
Okay, I think I'm starting to get it. But how does this apply to AI and keeping data private?
So let's say you have a healthcare AI. It needs to analyze your medical records to give you personalized recommendations. With zk-SNARKs, the AI can prove that it's analyzed your data and come up with those recommendations, but it never actually sees your sensitive medical info.
So it's like the AI is working with encrypted data, kind of like a doctor who can diagnose you without knowing your name or anything about you.
That's a great analogy. The data stays encrypted, but the AI can still do its job and give you those valuable insights.
Wow, that is really clever. So this is all about privacy. But how does this make decentralized AI more efficient? We were talking about Mina Protocol's lightweight blockchain, but I'm still not entirely sure how it all connects.
Okay, so think about traditional blockchains. Every node on the network needs to have a copy of the entire blockchain to validate transactions. With zk-SNARKs, you can basically create a proof that a transaction is valid, but you don't have to reveal any of the details of the transaction.
Oh, okay. So it's like sending a receipt that just says purchase confirmed, but doesn't show what you actually bought.
Exactly, you're getting it. And that means way less data needs to be shared across the network, making everything much more efficient. And that's super important when you're dealing with AI, because it often requires huge data sets and lots of complex computations.
This all sounds great, but are there any limitations or challenges to using this technology?
Well, zk-SNARKs are still pretty new, and there are definitely some challenges. Like generating those proofs can be computationally intensive, which can slow things down for certain applications.
So it's a trade-off between privacy and efficiency then.
Yeah, to some extent. But researchers are constantly working on making zk-SNARKs more efficient, and we're seeing some really promising progress.
That's great to hear. So looking ahead, what kind of real-world applications can we expect to see from this partnership?
Oh, the possibilities are huge. Imagine AI-powered financial advisors that can give you personalized advice without ever seeing your account details. Or healthcare AIs that can analyze your medical data while keeping your information totally private.
Those are some really cool examples.
Yeah.
And because these AI agents would be running on a decentralized network, they wouldn't be subject to the control or biases of any one company or government.
Exactly. This partnership isn't just about improving the technology, it's about fundamentally changing who has control over it.
Right. It's about giving that control back to the people, creating a system where individuals have more say over how their data is used.
Exactly. And it's not just about individual empowerment either. It's about building a more collaborative and transparent AI ecosystem.
This makes me think about how SingularityNET is all about community involvement.
Oh, yeah. They're really working on making it easier for people to get involved, like hosting those town hall meetings to discuss funding and how people can contribute.
It's great to see them putting so much effort into building a more inclusive and participatory system.
Definitely.
But we're running a little short on time for this part of our deep dive. Before we wrap up, I'd love to get your take on the bigger picture here. What does all of this mean for the future of AI?
Well, I think this partnership is a sign of things to come. We're seeing these powerful technologies like AI, blockchain, and cryptography all converging. And this has the potential to really change how we interact with technology and with each other.
It feels like we're on the verge of a new era, where AI becomes more integrated into our lives, but in a way that is more ethical, more equitable, and more aligned with our values.
Absolutely, and it's happening right now.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about the potential benefits, but what about the potential downsides? Are there any concerns we should be thinking about with this whole decentralized AI thing?
Well, yeah, anytime you have a powerful new tech, there are always going to be risks. One thing that comes to mind is control. If AI decision-making is happening across a network, who's ultimately responsible if something goes wrong?
That's a really good point. It's like that whole debate about self-driving cars and who's to blame if there's an accident.
Right, and it's definitely something we need to be thinking about carefully. Another potential concern is that decentralized AI could be more vulnerable to malicious actors. If anyone can contribute to an AI network. How do we prevent bad actors from injecting biased or even harmful data into the system?
So it sounds like governance and security are going to be key challenges.
Absolutely, and that's why it's so important to have these conversations now. Before these technologies become widespread, we need to be really thoughtful about how we design these systems to make sure they're both powerful and responsible.
SingularityNet seems to be really big on community involvement. Do you think that could help address some of these concerns?
Oh, definitely. involving a wide range of people in the development process. It can help make sure that these systems are designed with ethical considerations in mind. It's like those town hall meetings they were talking about in the Inside SingularityNET video.
Right. They said they wanted to talk about funding and community involvement.
Yeah, that's a great example of how they're trying to be transparent and encourage participation. And hopefully that kind of open dialogue will help mitigate some of these risks.
It's also worth noting that while this whole decentralized AI thing is exciting, it's not a magic solution. There are still plenty of challenges ahead, like figuring out the technical stuff, navigating the regulatory landscape, and building trust with the public.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And even if we overcome all of those hurdles, we need to be realistic about how long it might take to achieve true AGI. It could be decades away.
True. But it sounds like they're taking a pretty measured approach. They were talking about putting out a request for proposals to evaluate hardware and quantum computing limitations.
Yeah, they seem to be focused on figuring out what's actually possible right now.
Yeah.
It's smart.
Okay, so let's say I'm a listener who's interested in all of this. What can I do to get involved and help shape the future of decentralized AI?
Well, the first thing is to stay informed. Read about these technologies, follow the developments, and don't be afraid to share your thoughts. The more people understand this stuff, the better we'll be able to guide it in the right direction.
And this is all happening as AI is becoming a bigger and bigger part of our lives. Like even the new iPhone is optimized for AI now.
Right, exactly. So as AI becomes more ubiquitous, the need for decentralized and ethical approaches becomes even more urgent.
We need to make sure that AI benefits all of us, not just a select few.
Couldn't agree more. And I think this partnership between SingularityNET and Mina Foundation is a really positive step. They're not just building technology, they're building a movement.
Well said. This has been a fascinating deep dive. Thank you so much for joining me today.
It's been a pleasure.
And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in. Keep learning, keep asking questions, and keep pushing for an AI future that works for everyone.
See you next time.